right. Welcome to today's episode of Your Daily Scrum. I'm professional Scrum trainer Ryan Ripley. That's Todd Miller, who's also a professional Scrum trainer. We get together each and every day to help you get better at Scrum practices, and all that great team stuff that we need to be excellent at. Today, Todd, we have an interesting situation. First of all, check out community.agileforhumans.com. If you're not there, why not? Todd's been posting some scenarios for you to think through, some great prompts, some great questions. We're trying to help everybody level up and master Scrum. So get over there and join us. Todd, recently we had this opportunity. You and I are working on a super secret project. Maybe it's not super secret, but we're not going to disclose what it is. But Todd is in a Scrum Master role, and I am a developer on a team. And it's not something that we control. So it's outside of our company. It's for a different effort. And we thought it might be interesting. We had kind of a day one as a Scrum Master, Todd Miller version, right? Where Todd was acting as a Scrum Master. And we're going to talk through kind of the things that happened and maybe kind of do a little back and forth, like almost like a mini retro on Todd as a Scrum Master. So this should be fun. I like this.
I like it too. First of all, I have a very difficult developer on the team. Wait. Just kidding. Just joking.
No, that is part of the
not at all. I'm totally joking. Yeah. So it's interesting because like the day started and I had zero intention of that even being the case, and then somehow got nominated to do it. And I really didn't have a holistic approach. Knowing and some of the personalities in the room, I think my number one approach was to make sure that I was facilitating decisions being made and to being made very quickly. And I think some of that was me being very, very direct and not like. And sometimes even offering suggestions to kind of go along with our "it depends" video. So from my mindset, the number one thing that I was thinking that day is to have at least a foundational structure for how we were going to operate from a framework perspective. Not perfect, but good enough, and facilitate decisions being made as quickly as possible without paralysis by analysis. And so that was what was in my head, and I just am interested to see how it came out.
And so for a little background, the particular team that Todd is being a Scrum Master for has a history of difficulty with decision making, has a history of very strong personalities. So I'm one of them. I'm one of them that wants to. I like hearing myself talk sometimes, and that can get out of hand. And there's a lot of like strong personalities, but there's also some people that hold back. And so he's got a very dynamic group to deal with. And, it's interesting that his goal was to facilitate to decision-making, because that's something this team actually needed. Right. And so I think as far as like the way that the day one and even day two went, and I'm sure future days, we were successful in that decisions were made. Right. And so I thought, sensing, one of the things we teach Scrum Masters is you got to read the room. Who's in there, what's going on, what's the atmosphere, what are the discussions like, and that changes the level of facilitation that you bring to it. And so, Todd, you brought a very strong facilitation stance to the room, did not tolerate too many tangents. Perhaps you let us get away with a little nonsense, but for that group, trying to over control is probably a risk. And so that's probably a wash. That's probably a neutral comment, not a good or a bad. But decisions were made, and by the end, I think everyone was surprised that we actually made progress. And I think as more people hear about the outcomes of these events, I think they're stunned at just how much we did get done. So I think from that aspect, you read the room great. You understood who your audience is. You understood the developers, and you nailed the stances that you had to take at the right times.
Thanks. For me, introspectively and looking at it, I think that perhaps maybe a little too much I was offering my own opinion on it, which is difficult because I came into that day expecting to be a developer.
Yeah.
The team with preconceived notions and ideas of what that would look like. So I'm not sure if did that come through. I think I might have been a little directive and
You know what, though? I mean, some people might say that that's a negative, but on a team like the one that we're on, where you are kind of fulfilling, you're going to be developing on this team. You're going to be a developer and you're also wearing that hat. I don't necessarily, I think you balanced it well. Like it's a hard, we, in our book, we say, don't wear both hats. That's a very tricky thing. And perhaps you slid too far to one side or another, but that's a feel thing. And I think the more you get comfortable with it, the better. I also think it's a temporary situation.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is the only.
I really want to be a developer on this team.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I would criticize you there either. It's one of those where, yeah, maybe a little too much, but I think it balanced out. And so I think you're looking to be a little too hard on yourself there. It's one of those where it's a bad setup at the outset. So the minimal damage is a win. And I think you certainly stayed in that range. I don't know. I think the one thing that I would change about the way that those days went, we were probably in large group discussion way too often. And I think that was a miss. I think with the strong personalities and everything going on, the smaller the groups, the better. We come back and debrief and then get us away from each other, because we can not only can we like tangent and spin things up, but I think as you noticed, we actually start fighting. There's actually like visible irritation, and there's like even arguments.
And people shutting down too.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a really good thing to pick up, because I think when we did do it, it was very successful. But I perhaps think that I could have stepped in a little bit more to suggest right now we should do it. Right. I think that's some good concepts moving forward to really make sure that's happening. Because really, from my experiences, honestly, man, is that 4 or more people is just, I'd say more than 4. Like 4 people, you can have a real, genuine, down-to-earth, honest, and open conversation. 5 starts getting to be a lot. And I'm not suggesting that you can't have a team with like more than that. With a team of 9 people, I think you can be successful. 10 people, you can be successful. It's just smaller group conversations and dynamics. I feel like 3 and this is a field, there's no scientific evidence behind it, is the right spot to have everybody have a voice, right?
Well, with the smaller groups, everybody gets heard. We can digest the ideas and bring them back to the larger group, and it's less confrontational. It's. I think it eases some of the dynamics, especially for the situation you were in. But yeah, I think that would be a good thing. What's interesting about conversations like this, Todd? I wonder how many people out there actually get this kind of feedback when they're in a Scrum Master role, right? This is the kind of stuff you should be talking to people about. This could be a retro topic. This could be a this could be just an offhand conversation. Todd and I have been doing this stuff for 20 years, and there's still stuff that we found that could be improved. And so there's no shame in that. Like, that's just normal. Like Todd is like in the heat of the moment, dealing with a lot of difficult personalities. He's making the best decisions that he can in the moment. And so if we come back and debrief a little bit, I bet next time we all get together as a team and Todd is the Scrum Master, I bet he's going to do more small group facilitation. And so it's a plus for everybody. And so day one as a Scrum Master is tough, but I think debriefing day one with a outside observer or a development team member that you trust or a developer that you trust, I think it's a great way to gain those insights and figure out how to do better next time, right?
Yeah. And, I guess wrapping this one up, something that's immediately on my mind right now is that if I continue to take that exact same stance that I did that day, I'll probably fail. So it's a continue evolving thing. Maybe we'll follow up with the community here and see what's up.
Cool. Yeah, Todd, thanks for being open to feedback. I think it's an awesome stance. And hopefully all of you like that out there. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Check out the socials. Some videos are going to pop up. Binge watch those because, hey, that's what we do on YouTube. We'd really curious about your comments on this one. What have your first days looked like? And did you get feedback? And was that feedback, did it help you with future sessions? And what did that look like? So let us know in the comments. Ask your questions. Your questions turn into videos. But for Todd Miller, I'm Ryan Ripley. Go forward, do some great Scrum things. Get some feedback, right? And let us know how it goes in the comments. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.